So today we will be discussing about chapter 6, which is social institutions. This chapter introduces the concept of social institution, which refers to a system of standardized patterns of behavior and norms toward the preservation of social order. Social institutions play a huge role in society, as there are various social institutions that organize and define social life. Understanding social institutions can help us explain how social order is attained or maintained, as well as gain insights into human behavior. So, at the end of this chapter, students will be able to explain the concept of social institutions, discuss different social institutions and issues concerning these social institutions, and lastly, discuss how these social institutions affect the lives of the people. Social institutions. This refer to the organized sets of elements such as beliefs, rules, practices, and relationships that exist to attain social order. It also refers to well established and structured relationships between groups of people that are considered fundamental components of a society's culture. The elements of social institutions are defined differently by various perspectives. We have the institutional approach and the relational approach. Institutional approach are defined, or rather it tells us that social institutions are ordered set of rules, norms, beliefs, or values that organize human behavior, while the relational approach focuses on social relations rather than rules, norms, beliefs, or values. Nevertheless, it is possible to consider both approaches and look into both the organized sets of elements as well as social relations when analyzing social institutions. In analyzing social institutions, it is important to determine how their different elements are organized into a coherent whole. In the opening activity we had, or during the activity we had in the Moodle, the basic tenets of certain religions are organized in a particular way. These tenets reinforce one another rather than conflict with one another. Social institutions, like religion, are the primary transmitters of culture and the most important agents that determine the character and personality of the members of society. So we have here examples of social institutions. We have the family, economy, education, health, religion, and other non state institutions. Let's go dig deeper one by one. The family, marriage, and kinship. The family is considered a vital social institution. Aristotle considered the family as having arisen from a man's desire to leave something of himself behind. In the Philippines, the family is considered as the foundation of the nation, as stated in the 1987 Constitution. It is a vital institution for the continued survival of humanity. because it nurtures offsprings from childhood into adulthood. The family is a group of people who are related by birth, marriage, and shared residence. There are several kinds of families. We have the nuclear family, the extended family, and the reconstituted family. Nuclear family is composed of parents and children. Extended families are those that are composed of nuclear family and other relatives, such as the grandparents, the aunts, or the uncles. While the reconstituted families are composed of the spouses and the children from the previous marriage. The nature of the family in recent times has undergone certain transformations. The conventional image of a nuclear family has now been redefined by certain social changes. For instance, the emergence of single parent families have caused society to rethink the conventional composition of the family as having two parents. Additionally, the phenomenon of overseas Filipino workers has led to the establishment of families where a parent or even both parents are not present and the position of authority is given to an older relative or even a sibling. Another development that redefined the concept of the family is the emergence of same sex spouses. Other unconventional family arrangements include married couples who are childless, families who have children through adoption, and the growing number of broken families brought about by increased cases of separation or dissolution of marriage. The family is also the basis for kinship, which is a social structure defined by relations among individuals linked by blood or marriage ties. Kinship has been found to have a significant influence in defining the social status of individuals in many societies. In the Philippines, for example, many of the noted personalities in politics trace their lineage to families who have held political power and social influence for many years in their respective communities. Kinship ties based on descent can be either matrilineal, patrilineal, or bilineal. Matrilineal kinship means that one's descent is based on the female line. Patrilineal kinship, on the contrary, means that one's descent is based on the male line. Bilineal kinship refers to a descent system based on both the male and female lines. Kinship ties can also be based on marriage or formally recognized union of man and a woman. Marriage can either be monogamous or polygamous. Moreover, marriage is culture specific. For most Christian societies, for example, marriage is monogamous, which means that a spouse cannot have more than one spouse. Among Islamic societies, in contrast, marriage can be polygamous, which means that a person can have more than one spouse. The type of polygamy among Muslims is called polygyny. Polygyny, that is, a husband could take many wives, while polyandry, a wife can have many husbands. It was prevalent in India during the ancient times. In fact, the five Pandava princes of the Mahabharata epic shared a common wife. Polyandry is not as widespread in modern India at present. The economy. The economy is an institution that addresses questions regarding limited resources of society. The economy must address some basic questions such as what should be produced, or how are these products going to be produced, or